All right, guys. So if you guys listen to the weekly priming podcast, I want to every single week inside of these live calls that we do on Thursdays for the rest of this month anyway. I want to go deep on client acquisition for 2026 and just some slight tweaks and adjustments that I've been seeing over the last year or so in what is working better, what's working less well inside of just the new landscape that we're in inside of online coaching. Now, what I want to do in today's training, this is kind of like part one of three, if you will. I want to kind of take more of like a macro lens with client acquisition and just look at the big picture. And then as I'm going through this, also audit like your processes and where your client acquisition system is at with what you guys are currently building. If you guys are watching the recording as well. And then what I'm going to do in next week's call and the week after is we're going to zoom in on some of these specific parts and we're going to really reverse engineer that in terms of what's working better in 2026. Where is the industry going? How can we get ahead of the curve on some of this stuff as well? Just to make sure that you guys are getting the most bang for your buck in terms of the time that you're putting in, right? Like that's what this mastermind is all about, is showing you the way, more or less, to be able to get to where you want to go and what that lifestyle wealth goal is. So with that being said, guys, as I'm going through this today, any questions that pop up, definitely jot them down, because this is going to be more of like an overall macro view, just like I said. And if there's any gaps or anything that you want clarity on, definitely ask those questions at the end here, and then we can go from there. So first things first, client acquisition is such an interesting game, right? Because there's many different ways to do it. And in terms of what I teach inside of lifestyle wealth is I like to, as much as I can, apply myself, but then also teach a quality over quantity approach. Just because in terms of the amount that we need to hold as coaches and the amount of information that's out there in the online marketplace today, and then you actually getting clients and coaching clients, we only have so much energy, we only have so much bandwidth, right? So, and I realize that, especially for the businesses that I have, but then also that you guys want to build. So the lens that I view things through very much is quality over quantity, and how can we make sure that we're talking to less people or attracting less leads, but they are higher quality, so we don't have to spend all day like sifting and sorting, right? Like that's very much the lens that I take things through, and lifestyle wealth is very much kind of like a North Star of what this is all about. And that's actually where I want to start this presentation, because I'm gonna go through this protocol and some tweaks and adjustments for 2026 that I'm seeing. But in terms of the big picture lifestyle wealth, it's so easy for us to like go right into, okay, what are the new ads strategies inside of 2026? What's content look like? Is there any changes to how do we actually sell clients and get clients, and what the funnels are? And I'm going to talk about some of that stuff today, but it's very easy to get caught in the weeds. And then all of a sudden we're just in this, we're in this, we're in this, we're in this, and we're never zooming out to really refine, okay, what actually is the thing that we're working towards, right? And this is why I want to start this presentation with reminding yourself, what is your definition of lifestyle wealth? Because we all have different definitions of it. How many clients do you want to serve? How many hours a week do you want to work? What does your ideal week, what does your ideal month feel like, for whatever definition of balance that you have? Because based off of those answers, that's how we're going to build a lot of this strategy. And this strategy is, I would tweak and adjust it individually for all of you based off your strengths, based off your weaknesses, based off what gaps that you have. And it very much always comes back to what is your definition here? Because without this, it's very hard to build this stuff in the right way. Right. And the answer to this question gives us clarity on, okay, what is going to work for us in terms of getting us to your definition of lifestyle wealth in the fastest way possible? What isn't, right? And understanding what that process looks like. So reminding yourself of this, and I'm not even kidding, guys. When I set my lifestyle wealth goals, which changes like as I grow and have different offers and things like that. Especially right now, my time in life, having three young daughters, I will literally script out like on a one pager or a one slide what my definition is of lifestyle wealth, and I will almost look at it every single day. And the reason why I do that actually has less to do of like law of attraction, or anything like that. It's actually less about that. And it's just more so to stay on track because it is so easy. It is so easy to get distracted. It is so easy to get shiny object syndrome. It is so easy to kind of go down some other rabbit holes that is like the woman in the red dress, right? Like it looks good. It looks like this is what I need to do. This is what I need to go down, but it's actually a distraction from the main thing. And more times than not, your definition of lifestyle wealth is very achievable, right? With effort, with hard work, and over 6 to a 12-month period, it's very achievable. It's just staying consistent with it and not getting distracted because there is a graveyard of coaches who kind of get stuck in this loop of trying different things, trying this, trying that, trying this, trying that, and like oscillating between different strategies and not having enough time for things to really work, things to really develop, things to really refine your skills. So before I even get into anything inside of today's presentation, I want to bring it back to that because your definition of what lifestyle wealth looks like and then just reminding yourself of it every single day. Like David, I know you made your mind movie and we're working on your mind movie for last month's challenge. That stuff's important. That stuff's super, super important. So starting with that is one of the most important things. So that's how I want to kick things off here. Now, going into the first rung of what this client acquisition process looks like, your 1,000 true fans, right? Like these are your ideal clients that you have in your audience, is the best way for me to explain it. Everything is built from this place. And I'm going to talk about content. I'm going to talk about some paid ad growth strategy that you can apply to start building this if you're not in a spot where this is sufficient enough for you to have consistent opportunity. But your 1,000 true fan audience, and especially with some of the tweaks and adjustments that I'm seeing inside of 2026, this is the main thing. And what I mean by that is that everything kind of stems from your 1,000 true fan audience. And going even deeper, there's a lot of, let's say, influencers, and I've actually worked with some of them over the years, who, no joke, guys, have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers, and they are really struggling with client acquisition. And the reason being is because they haven't built this in the right way. It's just a complete mishmash of people. And on the outside, it looks like they're successful. It looks like the perception, right, that they're absolutely crushing it because they have so much attention. But what is the quality of that attention? And that's why I love this phrase, which I didn't come up with. Kevin Kelly came up with it. He's a really good marketer. But your 1,000 true fans, like that's what we want to speak to. That's what we want to build. Vanity metrics are just completely out the window inside of 2026, like almost completely. It doesn't matter. I made this post on social media the other day. I have some clients, some of my one-on-one clients who are at like multi seven figures, and they get like 5 or 6 likes on their posts, right? It's like nothing to write home about. But they're just so specific and they're so dialed in and so consistent as well. And they have the attention of their 1,000 true fans, and then they just sell to their 1,000 true fans instead of getting confused, right? Or having some sort of message that is muddled. So making sure that you get purity inside of what your audience looks like and who you're speaking to is important. And this is a good audit point for a lot of you guys too. And even myself, because I come back to this from time to time as well to remind myself of it. Because as we grow inside of the online coaching space, like just like I said, it's so easy to get influenced by other things, and it's so easy to get new ideas and different things that you might want to build out, and then all of a sudden your ideal client gets a little bit broader, the problem that you solve gets a little bit bigger and multifaceted, the goal that your ideal client has, maybe now it's multiple goals, and now your solution is a little bit bigger and less specific, and now all of a sudden your page is like completely muddy, right? It's not clear. It's not clear what you do. So sometimes we need to go through like a cleanup phase periodically, which is very, very normal. And especially at the beginning of this year, audit your social profiles, audit or whatever your main kind of frontward facing um, client acquisition system looks like. Are you speaking to one main person? Do they have one main problem that you consistently talk about that you solve, right, inside of your content? Do they have one main goal that, again, you consistently talk about in your content that you solve? What is your one main solution? So, like, this is your unique mechanism inside of your value videos. Is it clear, right? Are you talking about it consistently inside of your content? If it's short form content, long form content, whatever it may be, this needs to be completely in alignment. And it's hard, right? Like less is more. They say all the time, like a really good artist will look at a painting and they think not what I can add, but what can I take away? And it's very much what I like to view content through. It's very much what I like to view kind of the foundation in which we're growing our coaching businesses on as well. Is what exactly does this look like? And how can you be, again, ruthless with cutting out some of the fluff, cutting out some of the stuff that is residue or just kind of dragging you down? Because then once you do this, your thousand true fans start to become more galvanized. It starts to become more specific. And then when we talk about some paid ads, when we talk about content, everything works better when we're way more clear on this stuff, right? Much more clear. So, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because we need to let go of maybe a good opportunity, or we need to let go of maybe a part of your offer that was good, but it was kind of conflicting with the main thing, right? Or it was too confusing. This is a lot of the work that I do with clients is shedding some stuff that is good to make room for extreme clarity and for great, right? In terms of the main things that they're good at. So really building your thousand true fans or your audience based off this is huge. And it's not just like I'm saying here, it's not like a one and done. It's like, okay, I'm done. This is like consistent. Like we'll have the same conversation inside of 2027. We'll have the same conversation inside of 2028. And it doesn't matter what level of business you're at. Even some of my one-on-ones that are doing crazy revenue, have lots of team members. We come back to this stuff all the time, all the time. So really making sure that this is clear is important. So that's kind of the message, right? And kind of the foundation in which we're building on. Now I want to talk about paid ad growth. Now, this is something that has tweaked and adjusted over this last year, just slightly, nothing major, but just slightly. And these are two things that I want to speak to in terms of some updates and some tweaks and adjustments that I think can really help. So, in terms of some paid strategies, I usually like to have two different styles of ads on almost all the time, depending on what your needs are. Now, I have some clients who don't need this because they already have such like a big pipeline or a really engaged audience, and they just need to work that before they start with ads, or some people don't even need ads, and that's okay too. But for a lot of the coaches, especially inside of this container, lifestyle wealth, we need some sort of system that are bringing ideal types of clients in our pipeline, right? And starting to see our content and then consume our content consistently. That's the game here. And the two different styles of ads, and there's many different ways to go about it, but the two different styles of ads that I normally like to run that are the easiest are follower ads, which I've taught extensively inside of this mastermind, but next week I'm actually going to teach a little bit deeper on as well to make sure that you're getting more people clicking follow on your account, Facebook account, whatever it may be. But again, they're made up of your thousand true fans, right? They're not just anybody, they're not just random people. They're your actual ideal types of clients who would hire you. They have the problem that you know you can solve. They have the goal that your coaching program can get them to, and they see you as interesting. This coach might have something I haven't done before. This is something I like to set up with clients, and then once we find a winner, keep on. Now, it depends on your financial situation because obviously you need a little bit of an ads budget to keep this rolling. But I normally recommend if we can have a really good follower ad just consistently on that is bringing you a few new followers, just a handful every single day. This is growing your 1,000 true fans, right? And based off the content system that we build, like the overall ecosystem with your content, that is going to do the heavy lifting for you. That is going to filter out the people who are a good client, the people who aren't, and then make sure that they're taking that next step inside of whatever your call to actions are, your funnels are after that. So this is something I like to set up with a lot of the clients that I work with, and like I said, obviously I teach inside of this mastermind as well. But the purpose for this is just getting more people in the funnel, right? Just slowly starting to build up your 1,000 true fans with applying our overall strategy to get more clients through the next step. So, reason why I like this and just constantly keeping it on long term is because it might not be a huge need for you right now in terms of having new eyeballs in your audience and things like that. You might be good, but eventually you will go through some sort of a push for clients, right, or some sort of a promo strategy, and you're going to be glad you were doing this 3 months ago. Right, because those new eyeballs are coming in. They're identifying themselves as an ideal client. And that's exactly what we want to do for follower ads. So, having this on consistently is something I like to do, just big picture wise, and then DM ads as well. So this is you having some sort of let's say audit, some sort of a free training that they can get, some sort of a maybe it's an assessment, personalized assessment, or a quiz. Those are usually one of the four best DM ads that you can run. And I'm going to share different examples of clients who are running this in next week's training, by the way, so we can apply it in our own way. But this is once you are starting to sign some consistent clients and you have a good budget for ads and you want to get some more ideal types of clients who are actually starting a conversation with you because they want to learn more about what you do or they want to get whatever that free training is or they want to get whatever that free assessment is that we're promoting inside of your content. This is where we can generate actual leads, right? And actual ideal types of clients who are rather warm. Whereas follower ads is more so like building your following, right? More so building your audience for long-term offers that you might make 3, 6, 9 months down the road. Whereas DM ads are a lot more warm, right? They want your free training. They're identifying themselves as, hey, I have XYZ problem that you're talking about and I'm looking for a solution, right? So in terms of like the buying journey, they're a lot closer to making a qualified buying decision than maybe these people. So this is something that I like to run with my clients once they get to this point, to make sure that not only are you growing your following, but you're also generating, let's say, 1 to 3 good ideal types of clients every couple of days, right? Which just turns on the pipeline. It gets things flowing. It turns on the faucet, if you will, of ideal clients. Now, this takes a little bit of time to be able to test, to be able to understand what works, what doesn't. And we might have to go through like 4 to 6 different variations of ads before we find a really good one. But this is the second style of ad that once we find a winner, I like to keep on, honestly, for as long as it'll convert for. And having one good follower ad at a pretty low daily budget, and then one good DM ad at a pretty low daily budget between $20 to $30 a day, I just like to keep those on for as long as they'll work. And then, as the coach and inside of what you guys are doing with your sales process, your lead gen process, you're getting some good ideal types of clients coming in, and then you're working those leads inside of the strategy that I teach here. And it just stabilizes your process, right? And it's not about like getting clients super, super fast and scaling. It's more so about building your moat, right? Because, and I'll talk about content in a second. If we know once every 3 months, we're going to do a direct call in for one-on-one coaching clients. And then once every 3 months, we're going to do a 3-day clinic. And then once every 3 months, we're going to do a masterclass or some sort of specific call to action that we're working up to. These two ads that are consistently running, these are a lot of the people that will take you up on some of those call to actions, right? Because they're new in your audience, they're looking at your stuff, they're seeing your content, and they want to consume. They want to get to that next stage. So this is something I normally like to run once you guys get to that point. Now, if you're running both consistently, let's say a follower ad at $10 a day, a DM style ad at $20 a day, then inside of any given month, that's about, let's say, $1,000 a month, give or take, that you'll be spending on ads. But what we want is between, let's say, 30 to 40 high quality conversations coming through that pipeline. And if you sign, let's say, 5 clients from it, then it's 100% worth it. Right. So building up to that spot and then just keeping those rolling is what can create some sustainability and predictability to the sales process and inside of everything that we're doing. So inside of 2026, these are two strategies with coaching businesses around, like, let's say 5K a month to upwards of 30K a month. Having these two ads rolling just greatly helps that sustainability of that monthly revenue. So those are two things that, yeah, really help. And then the conversation flow, this is the exact conversation flow that I teach inside of this mastermind, but then also teach inside of the ad protocol. This is still the exact flow that I would recommend when we start running ads and when we start getting some more ideal clients coming through the pipeline. Conversation started, qualify to make sure they're an ideal client, understand what the goal is, understand what they're currently doing. If it's not working, talk about your solution and how it's different than what they tried before, and then ask if they'd like to learn more, send a value video, book in a one-on-one call, right? Same process, still works very, very well, and hasn't really slowed down. Biggest thing is just making sure you're talking to the right people and qualified people. That's the name of the game. And just like I started this whole conversation, and this whole training, quality over quantity. That's what we want to make sure that we're optimizing for. So that's a little bit about building your 1,000 true fan audience, but then also making sure that we're having some consistency with conversations moving forward and lead generation. So content is kind of to my point. Now we're getting the attention, which is what we want. We're attracting good ideal clients. Now what we want to do is we want to funnel that attention into the right places. How we do that is through content. Content is your marketing message, right? And especially with some trends that I'm seeing going into 2026, it's less about volume and more about experience-based clarity. And what I mean by experience-based is you speaking about like what you've done, right? Or experience in working with clients, or things that you know to be true based off of your research, or some of your learnings, and or some of your experiences with yourself. Because this is what people are craving inside of content, is not necessarily chat GPT value information based stuff, because information is starting to get less and less valuable, and more so around experience, right? More so about how can I get value through some sort of personal story, some sort of client story, some sort of call to action that can help me with my next step. Yeah, you have to understand inside of content that people are always selfish, right? They're always thinking, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? So for us and how we create, we want to be answering that question and almost like serving the next step, or serving some really good actions to them, right? Because that's what's going to do the best inside of content, not burying them inside of information. And that's very much a trend that I'm seeing going into 2026 as well, is that content that used to work 2024, 2025, that's really information based, is working less and less inside of 2026, and obviously inside of the tail end of last year too. And same thing, quality over quantity is something that I'm seeing is just more needed than ever, especially inside of the online coaching landscape. So normally what I recommend, guys, is between 2 to 4 social posts per week. Inside of like EPDO method is one way to do things. I'm going to teach a different way as well. near the end of this month with a new content strategy that I'm launching for you guys. But at the end of the day, it's not insane volume, right? Insane volume is very exhausting. It's hard to keep up with, and it takes a lot of energy and bandwidth. I'm big on quality over quantity and setting a schedule between 2 to 4 social posts and having it being based in this, right? Like opinion, experience, your coaching standards and you communicating that, your coaching core values and you communicating that, your perspectives. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to create. So having a flow that way is what we want to make sure that we're consistent with on a weekly basis. And then one long form if you can. So it doesn't have to be YouTube or a podcast like together. It could be one or the other. But I do like long form because it gives you a longer runway to be able to deepen the relationship with your ideal clients, right? Whereas shorter form like Instagram, things like that, shorter form posts, they can do well, but it doesn't communicate the depth that we want to inside of what our coaching offers actually are. So getting the attention here and then directing it over here is a strategy that works very, very well. And the beautiful thing with what we do inside of Lifestyle Wealth is that you don't need huge audiences, right? Even if you have, let's say, 100 eyeballs here and you direct 30 eyeballs here to get subscribers on your podcast or your YouTube, whatever it may be, that's a really high quality 30 eyeballs. And that's what we want to nurture over time. And those arguably are going to be the people who slowly over time end up hiring you because you're planting the seeds in the right way. So that's the beautiful thing about this strategy is that we don't need huge numbers. We don't need like crazy exhausting systems. It's quality over quantity and being more precise with things instead of having like a spray and pray approach. So those are some trends that I'm seeing in marketing. And I've talked about this before as well, but the reason why we want to be consistent on our social with quality over quantity is because people need almost 7 hours of content to go through before they take that next step, before they actually even DM you, right? Or before they actually like take you up on your call to action or whatever it may be. So making sure that we have that out there, right? Making sure that we have some good videos, we have some good content, we have, if you guys have podcasts, we have a binge-worthy episodes of podcasts that we create. We want to make sure that we're creating that because this is stuff that I am pretty bullish on because yes, it takes time to create, but once it's created, your ideal types of clients can be going through it while you sleep, right? While you're on vacation, while you're doing other stuff, and it can work as an asset for you, going on in the background. And then all of a sudden they reach out to you, and then you message me. You're like, "Oh my God, I got a 1 year client out of the blue." And it actually wasn't out of the blue. It was they came in from some way, and it was inside of yeah, one of these touch points that you have. If it's your Instagram, podcast, referral, whatever it may be, website, they consume some of your stuff, read your blog, and now they're in. So this happens all the time, and being able to have our, let's say, digital fingerprint out there where they can consume a good amount of information and understanding of what your program is, how it works. That's what we want. We want to make sure that we're communicating that in the best possible way. So those are some tweaks and adjustments that I see with content moving forward. I've always kind of had that stance, but um, with the rise of ChatGPT and AI and just so much volume, I'm seeing cutting through the noise and having quality over quantity, even more so being just so important and being at the forefront of everything. So with that, we also want to make sure every single month has a main goal, right? Every single month should have one main goal. And this gives you clarity inside of your marketing. So, for example, usually in January, what I recommend is calling in clients at the end of this month, right? Because, like, kind of to your point, David, what you shared before, at the top of this, everyone's kind of getting out of the lull of the holidays, and now they're getting back on track now, kind of mid-month, and then people are gonna start realizing, you know what? I can't do this on my own. I need a coach in my corner. I need a next step. And end of January is the best time to call on clients, like by far and away. So if that's the main goal for content, we want to make sure that all the weeks that we have leading up to that call to action support it, right? So it gives us extreme clarity. Just like the 2026 planners that I sent out at the end of December last month. Um, every single month inside of that sheet, you should have a clear focus on, okay, what is the main call to action that I have for this month? What is the main thing that I'm working towards? Because it gives you clarity. And without clarity, your audience will feel it. So making sure that you reverse engineer your years, honestly, your years worth of content inside of 2026. And then, yeah, you can tweak and adjust it as you go, but at least giving that direction greatly, greatly helps. And that's something we want to make sure that we do. So, like, for example, January, we can call in one-on-one clients. February, you could have, let's say, a free day clinic or seminar. March could be some sort of a mini product or a masterclass. And then you repeat the cycle. You tweak and adjust based off what works, what doesn't work. And then you repeat the cycle every single quarter. And it's just this process of iteration, 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 not reinventing the wheel, and then doubling down on what's working for you and then scrapping what's not, right? Like for example, I have some clients a 3 day clinic works really, really well for. I have others where kind of falls flat, people fall through the cracks. So you want to account for that. Okay, what works best for you? Some people master classes work really well. Others a mini product like the health map, right, works really well to just get people on a call, get people a quick win, and then have the conversation for one-on-one coaching. So just reverse engineering your marketing, your main focus every single month, and getting clarity on that is the most important thing because now you know what to do. Now we know what's the next step. And it just gives us extreme clarity with everything. So that's content strategy, kind of like big picture. Obviously, we're going to zoom a lot deeper into that in the next calls that we have this month, and same with ad strategy. But that's kind of the first couple of rungs inside of 2026 and inside of some changes that I'm seeing. And then for us, just getting back to the basics of what works as well. So, in terms of this middle part here, which is like standard for the Lifestyle Wealth Mastermind, obviously, DM flow stays the same, value video process, and then going to a call, inviting them to a call stays the same. As long as we're talking to the right types of people and they're qualified in the right way, works very, very well. And especially with the way the industry is trending, is going to continue to work very, very well. But the one thing I do want to speak to in terms of some tweaks that I'm seeing inside of just the future of coaching is retention. Retention is by far and away, once you get to this point, one of the most important things for sustainability. And obviously, that's self explanatory, right? Like the longer you keep a client, the better. But retention is in some of the most successful businesses that I consult in, they have the best retention. And there are waves that happen inside of the industry where sometimes the market goes through a dip, right? Or sometimes things happen with ads, and there's a big change or a massive change. A lot of this stuff happens periodically through the years. If you have strong retention, then it's almost like you're safeguarded from all that stuff. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter, yeah, what's going on with AI. It doesn't matter with a lot of these things. You're safeguarded from it. And if there's one thing that I can teach the most is having strong retention strategies and models and referral strategy inside of your coaching business. And that actually has nothing to do, right, with social media, with marketing, with ads, with sales process, value videos, maybe value videos because you're setting it up in the right way. But retention by far and away is one of the main things that we want to focus on inside of our coaching businesses and track, right? And track. So when it comes to lifestyle wealth, and like this is me kind of bringing it full circle on this mini presentation. Um, when you don't have to worry about having a hole in your bucket with clients, and you know, okay, when I sign a client, they say they stay on for, depending on your offer, 6 months, a year, heck, maybe even 2 or 3 years. That's when you can have some good safety, right? Inside of your coaching business. That's when you can have some sustainability and then start building the life that you want to live, because there's not consistent fires going on inside of your coaching business. And it makes everything else easier as well, right? When it comes to ads, when it comes to content, when it comes to sales, value videos, if you have consistent and high retention, everything gets easier. It's the rising tide that lifts all boats, right? If you will. So understanding this is key. And just to give you guys like a couple of quick examples here, this is a little bit of um, a pretty bold example, but it's just to prove my point, and then we can tweak and adjust it from here. But let's say inside of 2026 that you acquire 20 new clients at $1,000 a month, right? Just to use simple math. So that's around, let's say, $240,000 in revenue based off of your client acquisition goals of getting 20 clients at 1,000 a month. So that's really solid, right? That's a great year. If this is your goal, you achieved your goal. Obviously, you guys insert your price points and client goals here. But where does retention come into play here, right? Because this is a really good goal. And let's say they're staying with you for a year. That's awesome. But what happens after? So let's say that inside of 2027, you're like, okay, I want to get another 20 clients. But I also want to see if I can re-sign at least 60% of my current clients. And I know that's a high number, but that is a number some of my clients hit with really focusing on good fulfillment, really focusing on high touch point coaching services. So if this is the case, and this is obviously just a hypothetical example, but you can create another 20 clients, but you also have almost 150 coming in again from the 60% that you retained, right? And this is where the math really starts to add up quick with retention, because it's an unsexy topic to talk about. Everybody wants to talk about marketing and the new funnels and the new ads, but retention is actually where the big money is made, in my opinion. And again, it's so unsexy to talk about. But you can literally do the same thing that you did last year, create the same amount of new clients, but increase your revenue by like 1.5 because of your retention. And then just let that compound over time. And this is just one example. Maybe this doesn't speak to you and you're like, okay, yeah, this looks great, Will, but like if I'm gonna work really hard for a year, get 20 clients, I actually might not want to push the next year. I actually might want to take some time off and be with your family, which is also okay, right? Like maybe you want to retain the same 60% of clients, but now you want to just like slowly call in clients and just maybe get six new clients or five new clients inside of 2027, the calendar year. And maybe you want to travel, you want to do some other stuff. Well, that's still great, because with your retention, which again is one of the most important things, that is the bulk of your revenue inside of the new upcoming year. And now let's say you retain 60% of your clients here. You just get 4 to 5 new clients inside of 2027. That's still a 200K a year, right? With what your retention looks like. So inside of 2026, I'm seeing this be more and more and more important because a lot of coaches are at the whim of algorithms. They're at the whim of trends in the market, AI, some different elements that way. And the more you can create a strong moat with retention, right? With high quality coaching systems, with really making sure you're attracting the right kinds of people inside of your offers, you actually don't need that many clients. Like you really don't. It's not necessarily about a scaling game. Like some people just need 10 high quality clients and they're good, right? Others need 20, others needs 30. It all depends on your offer and how things are structured. But when your business needs are less than other businesses, you're agile. You're able to turn on a dime. You're yeah, more quickly to be able to pivot and stronger in that way. And that's obviously everything we teach inside of lifestyle wealth and very much what I recommend as the industry is starting to evolve in different ways. So with retention, biggest things that you want to focus on. Number one, that you time the offers right, right? We want to make sure that they're in a good spot before they buy, and they're fully bought in before they buy. You want to make sure that your pricing matches what you guys coach on. This is a little bit different for all of you. You guys all have slightly different price points depending on what your zone of genius is and depending on what you coach on. But you definitely want to make sure that you hit the sweet spot in pricing. You want to make sure your delivery is always long term, is always future pacing. And even with your content, like you talk about the long term journey. You're not talking about 90-day fixes. You're not talking about 6 week sprints. You're consistently having that feedback loop back into your long form content. And then it makes you less reliant on marketing, on ads, on new leads. And your clients stay, they renew, and they refer. And then your business on the back end, for lack of a better phrase, starts to grow itself. And that's the end goal, right? The end goal actually isn't just like getting to your lifestyle wealth number. Let's say it's 20 clients or whatever it may be. That's just you kind of entering the game. Then the next step is building world-class fulfillment, world-class coaching, and making sure clients stay, they renew, and they refer. And then that's like now you're in the game. Now you're playing the real game. Client acquisition is just your entry fee, if you will. So anyway, I like to plant that seed as well because that very much is something that you want to be focused on and you want to have in the back of your mind as you're in growth mode and as you're in building mode to get to this spot. So cool thing about this, guys, and again, obviously everything that I teach inside of lifestyle wealth is you can ratchet it up or you can ratchet it down depending on what your goals are and depending on like what your lifestyle is and what your personality looks like. Because I have some clients who want to work super hard and work 12 hours a day and spend a lot of money on ads and yeah, kind of like grind for a couple of years, and that's okay. Like if that's their season right now, that's awesome. And then I have other clients who have a family. They want a little bit more balance. They want to spend a little bit on ads to grow and to have consistent leads, but not too much where it's overwhelming. And kind of have like a good flow with everything. Work 4 or 5, 6 hours a day, and kind of grow slower, but really focus on retention and high quality leads. And that's okay too, right? That's a beautiful thing about this system as a whole is like I said, you can ratchet it up or you can ratchet it down depending on what your goals are, depending on what your lifestyle allows, and what your personality is as well in terms of what season of life that you're on. So biggest things are making sure acquisition is consistent, content is specific. You have 1 or 2 ads that you constantly keep on, depending on where your pipeline is at. And then you're focused on building really good retention systems, and making sure that that's as high quality as possible. Because long term, that's the best advice I could give any coach. So with that being said, guys, all I got for you today. I know this is more like big picture stuff. We're gonna definitely zoom in to the content. We're gonna zoom into ads and some more nitty gritty over the next couple of live calls. But that is a good kind of overarching explanation of client acquisition and main focus points inside of 2026. So, any questions you guys got for me before I let you go?